Hi, join me on my walk very momentarily. I was having a conversation with a student yesterday who has young children. And this is a little message for those of you who are parents. Many of my students are parents. And I love working with people who have kids because it's kind of like a double whammy. Like as an adult reparents themselves and learns how to reparent themselves, they become better parents for their children. And if I had my way, there would be no need for me in the world because we were all parented well. And something I said to her stuck, and she was like, "Oh, I'm writing that down." And I wanted to share it here. And what that is what we as parents suppress, our children express. What we suppress, our children express. What we repress, our children also express. What's the difference between repression and suppression? Suppression is we know we're pushing it down. We know we're ignoring it. So that's like saying you're fine when you're obviously not fine. Pretending like you have it all together when you're riddled with doubt, anxiety, worry. That's suppression. You know something's wrong and you're acting like nothing is wrong. Repression is that you don't know that you're pushing it down. You've probably been pushing it down your whole life. It's something that you probably adapted to when you were young and just never really learned how to address or acknowledge or feel. So the bad news is our children will act out both of those things. Why? Children up until the age of about 7 years old have a wide open prefrontal cortex. So to paint the picture of what that looks like for a child, they do not know the difference between what they themselves are feeling or have uniquely created based on their own experiences or what they are perceiving from their environment. So like, let's say mom is anxious. Baby Jack, who's 4, is gonna feel anxious, but doesn't know why they feel anxious. And so you can see the trap already when baby Jack is acting out, or toddler Jack is acting out, and the parents want to understand why, when in fact that child is mirroring something that they're not addressing in themselves. So that's kind of a benign example of how this can show up. But the story as it was told to me yesterday is my student is, her anxiety is having anxiety is how she talked about it. And there's a song for that. And since this all started occurring, oh, there's a car coming. Since this all started occurring, her son has taken to very random, high-pitched screaming, kind of with no warning, the kind that pierces your ear that like no parent has the capacity to hear. And of course, if your anxiety is having anxiety, your child acting out just kind of adds fuel to the fire. It makes it really difficult to manage. And the thing I want to say, which is really important, is that this is not about placing blame on a parent, saying, oh, if your child is acting out, it's your fault. One, we come through our parents, we do not come from them. Every being on this planet has their own karma. And we are entangled with one another. That's physics. And our environment will mirror our internal state. And rather than see it as I'm being punished for something that I cannot see about myself, you can think of it as I'm being shown something that I cannot see. And in this way, it is my humble opinion that children should be seen and cherished as a gift, because their presence in our lives is one of the largest, most powerful invitations for spiritual awakening that exists on our planet. They are, their presence will show us what we need to see. And if we're really receptive to that, we can grow enormously as parents through the eyes of our child. Now, this doesn't mean don't have boundaries, don't have accountability, don't have appropriate levels of discipline for your child. Do not let your child run all over you, please. But take the medicine And instead of attempting to handle it out here, aka address the bad behavior with your child, take a beat and look at, okay, what is my child showing me right now that I need to see, that I need to look at, that if I address it internally could resolve the behavior without me even needing to do anything about it. Sometimes, and this is also, I would say, appropriate at the point at which a child is speaking, you can teach them emotional literacy and adequate energetic boundaries by just verbally taking ownership of how you feel when you're around them. That also helps children appropriately individuate, which is something natural that will happen when they're around 7 or 8 years old. They need to individuate. This is actually a really important coming of age initiation for every human being. And when a child is made responsible for the culture or the energy of the environment that they're living in, they carry that into adulthood, and then they have to hire someone to help them if that starts destroying their relationships in their life in some way and they don't want it to. So when a child is young, or when children are young, what you can do as a parent is just name it to tame it, share it to air it, feel it to heal it. Those are kind of my 3 slogans for creating a space of emotional maturity in your home. This brings an enormous amount of privilege in a way to your family. So if you're feeling anxious and you know what it's about, you know, maybe there's some turbulence at your work, there's some turbulence in your relationship, there's turbulence with a family member, whatever. You just say, I'm feeling unsettled right now. I feel scratchy right now. And there's a difference between saying, I feel scratchy, I feel unsettled, I feel angry, and I am unsettled, I am scratchy, I am angry. We don't want to identify with what we're feeling. We just want to feel it. We don't need to defend or justify or explain what we're feeling. We just need to feel it. And usually when we feel what we're feeling without thinking about it, it will resolve. At least the urgent parts of it will resolve quite quickly. And we can pay attention to where we might be resending or recreating that feeling through our thinking. That's kind of the next step of this, is like, how am I perpetuating this feeling through how I'm thinking? Those are important questions that we need to be able to ask ourselves, especially in this time when we're being fed so much information that is cause for concern in the world. And our children benefit, our families benefit, our lives benefit. And you don't need to blame yourself, but you can take ownership of how your energy is contributing to any space. I don't have children, but if I feel off, I like to kind of enter with a disclaimer, like, be over-communicative. I hope you can hear me with this wind. It's a breezy day here in Southern France. I like to enter with that disclaimer and say, you know, I'm really happy to see you. I'm really happy to be around you. And just so you know, I feel a little like a cactus today, or I'm moving through something. If you're feeling that from me, just know that I'm aware of it. I don't need anything, or maybe I do, and I can ask you for that. And make it such that people don't have to make any assumptions or take anything that they're sensing from you personally. Communication is like 90% the energy that emits off of our body. I don't know if this is an actual statistic, but it's the one I'm sticking with. 10% words. So if you think about your energetic communication, your energetic impact in any room that you enter, and you take 100% responsibility for what you are allowing to radiate off of your body, even if it was caused by someone else, even if it's because the world is in a state of despair and collapse, even if someone said something really mean to you, you own how you let it impact you. And that doesn't always mean dismissing it, but it also means that you have a responsibility to learn how to metabolize your own experience so that you're not offloading it on someone else, or that someone else doesn't feel a sense of responsibility to metabolize it for you. This is energetic hygiene, and our children create opportunities for us to learn this more than any other experience in life. I don't have children. I learned it through other ways, but I had to go find it because it wasn't at my doorstep in the way that it is when you have a kid and you can't escape being a parent, you know, like that's going to be with you for the rest of your life. And so you either open and receive what that experience has to show you, or you can end up in a emotional ricochet with your child that you can also interrupt and replace with love, compassion, gratitude. There's a lot of nuance here. This is an 11-minute video. That just goes to show that you can't deduce this down into a one paragraph, 125 character meme. There is a reason why there are people who offer guidance and support in this work, because it is so incredibly nuanced, and without the proper guidance, we are inclined to collapse or blame, and that doesn't serve anyone either. And there is a certain mastery to being able to do this. There's a certain somatic agency to being aware in your body of how this lives in you. There's a certain intelligence in your emotions of how to express yourself and what the appropriate way to do that is with the people in your life. And until those things are worked on, the discernment and the intuition and the natural vulnerability and compassion that you were born with is not as easily accessed because it's blocked. It's blocked by our ideas about how something should be. So parents, I hope that this is helpful for you. If you need support with this, you can reach out. I offer one-to-one work. A lot of the people that I work with are working with this with their children. It is an important work to do so that we can make healthy investments in the future of our world. And I really believe that if we start when our children are young, that has an enormous ripple effect. And there is no point at which it is too late to start this work, even if your children are grown, because whatever occurred can still be reflected upon and healed from. So reach out if you have questions. Tell me what you think in the chat. What are you experiencing? I hope you enjoyed my walk. There's a nice river here, and I'll see you later.